What's up everybody, I'm TheJoshElkin and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making basil infused pappardelle and a 2-meat bolognese. Let's get on with the recipe. Now before we get started with this recipe, there's a few things you need to know. I'm using a pasta maker to make the pasta, but if you don't have one, you could easily use a little bit of elbow grease and a rolling pin. Now, on with the basil pasta. The mixture to make this dough is basically the same that you would make any other pasta dough. The difference is I'm folding in some ground up basil to give it a little bit of freshness, a little bit more vibrance, and a little bit more color. To make pasta, you would typically make a mountain of flour and then a well on the inside and add a little bit of eggs. But maybe you're a novice to making pasta, and maybe you want to use a food processor. That's where this comes in. I'm making this dough in the food processor. It's a lot easier and, as you know, the path of least resistance to deliciousness. By the way, if you're concerned that I'm not giving you the tips and the steps and all those other things, the recipe link is in the description, so if you really want to follow along, click that link. Now, on with the bolognese. As you can see in one pile, I have some chopped up carrots, and as I'm talking, I'm chopping up some onions. The key is to chop them both as close to the same size as possible. That way, they'll kind of cook at the same speed. Now, to the pot of onions, I'm going to add the chopped up carrots. I've obviously chopped up some celery, and I've roughly chopped some garlic. This is going to be the base of flavor for this bolognese. And if you happen to be following along and cooking this simultaneously, then you already know it smells awesome. Now, as these vegetables kind of sweated out in a workout inside this pot, let's get on our other ingredients, shall we? As I said at the beginning, this is a 2-meat bolognese. Is it conventional? Is it traditional? Probably not. But my response to that is usually the same. Does it matter when it's this delicious? We got some 80-20 ground beef and we have some spicy Italian sausage, both of which go real well with a good old red wine. Now, this question is asked often. Is there a special red wine to use? Do I need to get one of those cooking red wines? And the answer is, if it's good enough to drink, it's good enough to cook with. Here's something you probably never thought of: adding some milk or some cream to the bolognese sauce. And I know what you're probably saying. That does not seem like it makes sense. But here's what it does. It makes the meat more tender and adds a much more richness and depth to the sauce. All right, so we have our meat mixture with our milk and our wine, and that sounds kind of weird, but perfect to start adding our tomato base. Here's something that I like adding to my bolognese sauce, and that is a healthy amount of Calabrian chili paste. If you don't know what this stuff is, you are missing out. It is my favorite spicy chili sauce, and it's available at my Amazon store, link below. All right, the sauce is chilling. It's gonna cook down a little bit. All those flavors are gonna marry with one another. It's gonna get super deep. And now it's time to take out the chilled pasta dough and roll these noodles. Now, like I said, I'm using a pasta maker, and if you don't have one, consider investing in one. Honestly, it's really awesome, and even if you don't have one that attaches to a KitchenAid, you can get one of those hand crankers, which I used for a while before getting my KitchenAid. Either way, if you don't want to get any of those, you could just, like I said at the beginning, use some elbow grease and a rolling pin. Now, if you've already caught on, you probably realize that I love kitchen gadgets. That's why I'm using this spiralized mini pizza cutter, or at least it looks like that. It's typically used to make raviolis, but I like making fancy noodles. And if you want one of those, again, click the Amazon store link in the description. The noodles are done. I'm going to heat up a pan and add a decent amount of the bolognese to the hot pan. If it's a little bit dry, make sure that you save some of the pasta water. It'll thicken up the sauce and make everything stick together. Then it's plating time. You know, a lot of the times that I make recipes, it's not necessarily the first time I've made that recipe, and this is not the first time that I've made bolognese or fresh noodles. However, this is the first time that I made basil-infused pappardelle noodles, and this is the first time I tried a brand new bolognese recipe with not only ground beef, but also ground sausage. There's an amazing bite to it, an even better chew to it, and you might think the basil flavor is a little overpowering, and it's not. It's kind of just like lingering around, like that friend you don't necessarily want around, but you have to because your parents are friends with their parents, and you're like, look, I don't want our parents to fight. I really don't mind you that much. Come hang out. Let's have a bowl of pasta. Check out the link in the description down below. It'll take you to this recipe. It'll also take you to my website, recipechampions.com, which is where I publish all my recipes, like this one. I got a whole bowl to eat, and once again, I'm super hungry and extra excited. Bye.